Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Kevin Delp, and today we're looking at Century Spice Road.
Century Spice Road is a 2 to 5 player hand-building, cube-pushing board game from designer Emerson Matsuuchi, and it's published by Plan B Games.
In the game, players act as traveling merchants, and they're caravanning across the eastern lands, selling their precious wares to wealthy merchants along the Spice Road.
The game plays a little bit like the popular game Splendor in that players are using their, in this case, cubes, to trade in order to get cards that are worth lots of big points.
At the beginning of the game, players are dealt 2 start cards and a caravan card. They also get some cubes based on where they are in turn order. Now, the top row of cards in the game are your victory point cards. Those are the cards you're trying to get in the game. The bottom row of cards are your merchant cards, which allow you to acquire and trade and upgrade your cubes.
On their turn, players have a couple of different actions to choose from. They can acquire a new card, they can play a card from their hand, they can claim a card from the top and get those victory points, or they can rest, and basically that means they skip their turn, but they get to reclaim all the cards that they've played so far in the game.
Now, to acquire a card, a player must pay a spice cube for every card he doesn't want, so he takes that card then into his hand and then replaces that by sliding the cards down the row and replacing the last card at the back of the row.
If a player chooses to acquire a card that already has spice cubes on it, then he gets that card plus the cubes, which is pretty cool.
In the game, the 4 spices, turmeric, saffron, cardamom, and cinnamon, are recognized in ascending order. So at the beginning of the game, you're getting those lower valued spices and you're trying to exchange them for those higher valued ones. So by the end of the game, you are trying to get the cinnamon and the cardamom to get those really high point, like 20-point victory point cards.
Depending on the number of players, after a player has claimed their 5th or 6th point card, then everybody finishes out that round, you tally your points, and then the highest score wins the game. Kevin, tell us what you think about those mechanics.
So I was able to play a prototype of this with Emerson back at Origins 2016. Had a very enjoyable time, but the theme was, it was themeless. There were some camels, and the cards were basically colored cubes on cards. But I'm so happy to see this fleshed out in Century Spice Road. It works perfectly. It feels like you're trading spices in the game. And I really see that there's a lot of strategy to this game. But there's something that we didn't mention. There are some gold coins and some silver coins in the game. Now, the gold coins count as 3 points, and the silver coins count as 1 point. They are placed at the first part of the victory point card track and the second part. The gold coins are the first spot, and the silver coins are the second spot. So when you acquire, or when you get one of those cards, you actually get a gold coin as well, which helps you get more points. And it also helps those cards cycle through a lot more. Now, the strategy in this game is there's some depth to it, but it's easy to grasp mechanically. Basically, you're just getting cubes, and you're trading those cubes in to get those victory point cards. So what cards you are trying to acquire is really important, because you're looking at those combinations up at the top row with those victory points. You're like, okay, I need 2 yellows, a green, and a couple pinks. Well, you're trying to manipulate your cards in your hand to get those cards, and I think that's really awesome. So easy to grasp, easy to teach, which I love teaching games, and then a deep depth to the game, which is awesome. What do you think about the theme?
So I like the theme a lot. Like you said, the mechanic is really polished to the game, but technically it's just like a crusty cube pusher, except that there's nothing crusty about this. They did a fantastic job with the illustration style. I really like how they took like a very modern typographic approach to it and merged that without it feeling like inauthentic or anything. The game is part of a trilogy, which is pretty cool, and they've already kind of got the artwork, I think, set up for all those. They've got the little boxes on the side that show you what's coming, and so I love the fact that it expands into that universe. I actually saw the side of the box that says "To Be Continued" before I realized that the trilogy was lined up. So that part of the theme was cool because I was like, what's coming? So I had to do my homework and research some more. So anytime that a board game box can pull you into the experience is pretty cool. And then also you picked up the playmat when we were at Origins, and that thing is gorgeous, just really rich and vibrant colors. I think it adds a lot actually to the play experience. I don't say that about all mats, but this one really does up that whole ante. So I love that a lot. Really, really sharp theme. Tell us what you think about the replayability.
So the game does have replayability. replayability, one of the main things are the number of cards that are in the game. So each deck, the bottom row deck where you're trading and getting all those cubes, has about over 40 cards, and I think there's over 30 cards in the victory point cards. So each game, you're seeing a lot of different cards. So one game, you're like, oh, this is an awesome card. I'm going to look for that next game. You may never see that card again until like later games. So you really have to be almost like flexible in how you're playing the game, because your strategy might be determined by what cards you can get. Now, sometimes in the game, players could get super good cards, and sometimes you can't. So you do have to be careful about how you're playing the game to make sure that you're spending the right number of cubes to get the right cards. So lots of replayability to this game. Enjoyability.
Yeah, and that all the things that you just said really roll into that, because when you're playing the game, like there's this sense of tension because I need to get that card before anybody else does, so I got to trade my cards in, and there's like a lot of just thinking that goes into exactly when to play those cards and what to claim next and to build that perfect hand. I've played this a couple times, and usually the scores seem pretty tight at the end with the groups that we've been playing with, and so that's always nice too, because I haven't actually felt like, even when I might be losing, there's still a hope that if I can just get that one card for the last one. So anytime that a game builds that tension and gives you those kind of choices, I think it's going to be an enjoyable one. We've had a lot of fun with the experiences so far, and I think you guys will as well. So be sure to check it out. Tantrum House gives Century Spice Road 2 thumbs up. Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House. I'm Will Meadows.
You're getting those like...
Two, you might want to crank it.
Okay. At the beginning of the game, players are dealt...
You should wait till I'm done coughing and talking to you.